actually a trade language. So when you're talking about English, you're talking about uh, international African or Phoenician trade linguistics, etc. It's made for trade. So fatwa comes from divine law, what you call hermetic law, based in moral and ethical trade principles. So fatwa means law.
This one. Then plenty of comments, some good and some very negative.
Well, I can expect that. I mean, it's like this. Let's look this way.
I'm gonna respond to someone. This one that I put somebody in timeout. Now their response is by blocking words who ask questions. Sad but not surprising. I should have blocked this one person a long time ago because what they're not asking questions. They're being divisive in the chat, and so
that's expected.
Yeah, they're being divisive. You're being divisive, and if you're sad and not surprised, you should be surprised that I haven't blocked you altogether. So you can take yourself off, or I can block you because you're divisive. You know you are. You're not asking questions. I don't have a problem. We don't have a problem with people asking questions, but I do have a problem with people causing division and divisiveness. We need to come together, and you need to know better. Thank you. So, let me see if there's any serious questions. I mean, seriously. I mean, if they don't agree with you, they don't need to be on. They don't even need. They don't have to agree. But to create divisiveness, and this individual is consistently divisive. Yes. They ask questions. They put these questions out to put doubt and schism in the chat. I've seen it for months, and I'm not. This is the first time I gave them a timeout.
Let's look at it realistic. Remember, this is what I've always said. And I'll say this to you all before. Even these statements that I made here, these are the congressional records. And I actually, Dr. J, I actually left the print and photoshopped the print and put it in here. Because now if they want to argue, they can argue with the record. They can argue with me. It's so like when you tell them the facts, they can be mad all they want to. It doesn't matter. However, this is the other thing that I wanted to also say. Because of the political dynamics that are taking place right now, particularly with the nations of the earth, their economies are collapsing because of this corruption that we just spoke of. And logically, even people among our own who are operative agents for the three-letter agencies, which they always operate. You understand? They will try, and this is interesting, how they always try to say the facts that I presented, these are the documents. These are facts, documents that I made them up. And that's why I give reference so people can go find them themselves.
I mean, if you all have questions, I mean, please put your questions in so I can, ask them questions, so I can ask Grand Sheik the questions that you're asking. But the point I try to make is like, a lot of the ones that are so disruptive and have so much to say, I find about, I just put a comment in there maybe about a half hour ago. These are ones who, when they first learned they were more and not Negro, Black, and color, they were probably looking at a Taj Tarik Bey video from back in the day. And then they get to a place where they smelling themselves and they feel like they know more than you, and you've never felt like you have it all. You never. We've gone over this before. It is not your position that people put you in a place that you don't even want to be. Never. You are a historian, and all of those, such as I'll give a shout out to, say, Lamont Maurice L, like him, who will go on and take whatever they've heard from you and take it further. They're supposed to add your part to it, but you don't have to discredit the rock that you stood on to get to where you are. And that's the problem. That's why I believe we don't, but that's why I feel we're not getting anywhere, because we're fighting each other. I know it doesn't bother you.
It does. I'll tell you why it doesn't bother me.
It bothers me.
It doesn't. Don't let it bother you.
Yeah.
Remember what I said to you last year? I said, masks are off.
I know.
Because there's a spiritual side to this too. This one must be understood. The battle that's going on is people may try to take it personal, but you have really what you can say loosely good and evil. Many of the people And some of the people who are trolls to these facts, because these are facts. It's not opinion; these are facts.
Right.
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 And they attack me for exposing the fact, because many of them know that this information, as the people wake up, that a lot of people who have been using this platform for personal gain, as an example, or selling birthright issues which are not sellable. Because remember, nationality is free.
True.
Because it's birthright. And many people, some people come into this movement to help liberate humanity, and some people come into this movement because they see an opportunity to generate fiat. And many of the people that you see that are critics have never put their neck on the line to help the people. Never, never, never.
Right.
And I already know, and I'm sure that you know when you look at these things, that people who take a stand on principle are attacked as if the principle is their opinion, when the principle exists before us all. And it's interesting, but it doesn't bother me because I already know that when you look at whether you're looking at Marcus Garvey, the photographer for him, the photographer for Martin Luther King, many of the grand sheiks that came around Noble Drawley were actually operating for the three-letter agencies, and which is the real reason. It's not that they didn't understand the movement. That's already there. You must know that the opposition is there.
There's always someone that's infiltration.
It's always, see, so, and it's not a matter of, a lot of people don't want this information out because it kills their economic platform. You got to remember, most of the people, if you really study the Moorish movement as an example, and you study the history, you'll see people come and they'll make a lot of fireworks, like a 4th of July fireworks, and they'll blow out for a few years, and then you don't see them no more after they've burnt the people, stealing people's finances, and asking for donations, pretending that they love the people. And when the people find out some of this knowledge and recognize this is everybody's obligation, the birthright belongs to you already. No one's giving you anything. It already belongs to you. And when you begin to demonstrate methods or ways by which they can make their proper reclamation of their right of the state, etc., it upsets these people because they can't, play master over servant games with them, and they can't tell them fundamental things that all of even the children should know, charging them hundreds of notes for stuff that Drawley laid down years ago. You'll see that one of our major problems have been is that the fundamental enforcements of treaty and constitution, which when you say constitution, you're talking about not only the treaties, you're talking about the ancient traditions and customs. And I think a lot of times when people say the word constitution, they're looking at the Constitution for the United States as an individual document, on its own right, or they're looking at the Treaty of the Great Peace, Gisnawa, and principles like that, and or the Zodiac Constitution, rather than recognizing that the principles behind them or that undergird them or that are in the construction have one principal root, and it is unchanging. And that goes back to the ancient customs and traditions of our ancient mothers and fathers, and that is known as the common law. That's why when you talk about common law, constitutional law, they will use them in the same sentence. And so people are not to be limited to the Constitution for the United States as they see it. They must understand the nature of it, the spirit of it, is what pre-exists anciently. And that is the enforcement of the Constitution. So that includes even your knowledge of the cosmological nature found in religion, etc., for leading people back to fundamental principles of divine source or divine origin, etc. That is basically universal. So that's common law. That's still constitution. And this is why, like when you deal with people who really understand the original origin of religion, they have no what you will call they don't contest people because of their different religious or their different faiths, etc. What they do contest is the misrepresentation of all the religions by the politicians and the priesthood who have gone absolutely corrupt, who have misrepresented these platforms or the constitutions of man. And logically, people who have been benefiting from the ignorance of people, as you show people some of these documents that are at the basis of governmental operations, but it's not being exposed to the masses, you can understand why it kind of upsets people who have been what you call one-trick ponies, who really have no talent, no skills, and they come onto platforms of the looking at the needs of the people, and they like a rabbit leech, sucking on the breast of mothers. If you get the point, and that's what these leeches usually are.
Well, the sad part is that there are many that come every week or every time we're on because they genuinely want to learn. They genuinely are waiting for that light bulb to come, to go off in them, so that they can go, I got it. And then you have all of the few,
but the few
disruptors
goes with the territory.
Yeah.
See, this is the deal.
And I don't even like having to do this, because this is taken away from what you could be teaching or sharing to talk about this divisiveness. Now, but it has to be said.
It has to be said. Well, that's fine. But I'm not a, you already know me. I know you know me.
You know me. I'm like, I jump in front of you.
See, because I'm looking at it like this. Anybody that really tries to help the people will be attacked. That's automatic. It's not, because you're dealing with people who really have dark spirits. You got to, the idea that people think that some of these people are trolls, don't understand, or have a different opinion. It's not really that. It's that this information is a threat to platforms that they have constructed for economic benefit against an injured people. Rather than tell the people the truth, that most of your legal problems that have been befallen the people, and legal is distinguished from lawful. Legal is the process that's set forth by the members of the Circle Church and Chancery and people who've been working with them or for them, usually under what is known as the rules of civil procedure, to steal the rights of the people under the judicial powers or the judicial platform for the United States, which is why they will always say Constitution of the United States distinguished. They won't say Constitution for the United States. And they'll always, just like, for instance, as an example, when you seen the hybrid Europeans abridge the rights of the Moors of some recent incidents, and you heard the hybrid Europeans write this term in their publishing, that they're prosecuting Moors under their legal names.
Oh, really?
What they're talking about is the nom de guerre operations distinguished from their rights as natural beings.
Here's a question. Here's something I just popped up real quick. I want to get to some of these questions. Let me put it up here. It says, from Massive God Squad, Taj Tarik Bay, why are the Albions telling people in order to win their mock kangaroo courts, you are better off using Bouvier's law instead of using the Black's Law Dictionary?
Well, Bouvier's is in fact, you got Bouvier's and Bell's too. And keep in mind, when you're looking at Bouvier's, that's basically the fundamental background that the Congress actually used. But when we do go to Black's Law, because remember, it's ancient and modern, that's not dismissed because of Bouvier's, is because the different statuses and phrases that we present in there is to show people proof that they're being misrepresented, that the people are being misrepresented.
In Black's Law?
Yes.
Here. Okay, let me get to another question for you. Somebody asked.
And it's again, even like as an example, You know, when the people continue to use the term colored person and think it means an endearment of African people, this is again why, you know, as an example, why we'll use Black's Law to show them that these people are operating fraudulently, and that when you follow them, that you're giving them or giving up your birthright, assuming positions or terms that are actually presented to destroy you or to hurt you, and not to preserve your right.
Here's a question that was up here. It says, "What are we learning?" He repeats himself, and I'm going to kind of respond to that before you do, because one, we haven't gotten it right. We haven't gotten it yet, and there's always new. There's always new people that are coming into
And it's mostly
this knowledge.
for the new
It's
people.
it's mostly for the new one, and it just reinforces, what others know. Because at some point, something should be activated within us that pushes us to the next level. And if that be the case, then we should probably move off the chat and be somewhere building up the new knowledge
Now
we
this
have
is
to give
where
to people.
now this is where you have there are people all around the country, study groups around the country, and outside of this jurisdiction in other countries who have gotten the concepts and who are studying. Like as an example, when we do these sessions at the House of Awakening Minds, you have what you call snippet information or vignette information. Um, the confined or refined studies would be done in your study groups, which is again why I give you reference points so that you all can gather information, restock your libraries, and do the studies yourselves to enforce the things that you need to learn logically. And it's no different than, like, say, for instance, if you're listening to a radio station, or if you go to, say, if you're going to a channel, etc., on a site, you're going to get limited information, or you're going to get points of reference. And this is for people to take the information and then to cross-reference it and then do research for themselves. Because logically, as an example, when we did a session not long ago, I talked about Article 39, police powers concerning marriage licenses. Right now, if we go in detail without what you call a study class, you'll never do that. It would never happen. It can't happen. However, if you go research and study yourself a lesson on that or the details on that, other than snippets of information, would take hours, and it would not be even practical. For the most part, you wouldn't even have a platform to really comprehend what was going on, because you'd get lost in the sauce. So the deal of it is to get people interested to start studying again, to restock their libraries, etc. To because most of the time when we're talking, you'll see that if I attack something, I'll attack misconceptions that are established because of misinformation, and then direct people to other information so that they can liberate themselves. Meanwhile, even over the years, a lot of people we've shared information with,
Hmm.
who really had nothing to offer to people, have taken this information and created what I would agree are, on the surface, appearing good, platforms, but really not to liberate the people, just to make finance for themselves.
And that's the
And
thing
so the
that we
people don't grow, which is why some things have to be
which is
redundantly.
no different than the so-called say medical industry. It's a business,
They're
so they're never
self-perpetuating. They're not trying to
right.
liberate
They're
the
never
people.
trying to get people healed and well.
Self-perpetuating.
They want to keep you needy
They
and
want to keep the
for
people
the greedy.
right. This is the deal. When you look at the Moorish Divine National Movement, the nature of the Moorish Divine National Movement is the liberation of humanity. Now, this is the point. What if you pay attention to some of the processes that are used by some, particularly some of the people who are angry that this information is being shared. Um, if you notice that most of the time you've never seen them actually come out and aid anyone.
No, but
They
they want to
no,
wonder.
what they
They want to know
do
why you haven't, like, because you're God. You're supposed to do everything.
No, because that's not the point. Because the exercise of rights belong to the people. Doesn't belong. See the cons, and this is even back to the misconception that have made our people in this dependency mentality, where they're looking for leaders, and this is not the age of leaders. This is the age of liberation of humanity. This is the age where every woman, man, woman, and child must confess their own. And while people will say that, they have been trained to the contrary. They're, even in psychology, of looking for a sacrificial lamb and then getting mad when you don't present a sacrificial lamb for them.
Yes.
Because they don't want the responsibility of taking their proper places among the affairs of men.
Yeah. We have a lot of questions that have asked if they could get your book, and they want to know how they can get the book that you're reading out, that you wrote. And I know we keep saying that we're really working on getting some reprints so that we can make them available directly.
With all the Adeptus manuscript notes, because most of the ones that we have published were heavily edited deliberately for editorial purposes, for publishing purposes, etc. Because I would not take payoff and let the mainstream publishers publish it